What's happening, folks? Listen, a quick update for the group. Okay, this is Coach UV. I wanted to come in here and give you guys some analysis on the market. That way you know what's going on, okay? Right here on the 15-minute time frame, you see how we're battling right here, okay? We are stuck between two volume profile clusters, all right? So we have a down move into a range, all right? I'm going to mimic and draw an illustration of what's happening right now, right? We have a down move, like a two-legged pullback into a range, okay? All right? Now the range is right there, right in this area, all right? This will be that range right here, okay? That's the range, okay? Right here, okay? This is the range that I'm speaking of, okay? That two-legged pullback was right here, okay? That's what I'm drawing, okay? I'm gonna stretch it out. 1 second. All right. So, below here for puts, okay? So below the previous, the biggest volume cluster, you know, where the action is at, like below here, I want to be thinking about puts, okay? To break this structure here. And I want to target the next zone, 639, all right? So that's a good 3 to 4 risk to reward ratio from 642 to 639, all right? Taking my profits at 638, 639, and leaving the runner to tag to 636, okay? This will be the optimal trade for the downside. Now, why do I say that, all right? We need a catalyst. We need something to push this move to give us that reason for that, right? And it could possibly be for the downside, and the information that I'm about to disclose could work for both ways, whether you are bullish or bearish. However, it's about timing and understanding the context. Once you understand the data, the context, and everything that's happening, you're able to attack with precision, know where to enter at and why, and it gives you the confidence to hold into the next high, especially if you notice the trend. Now, what is the information I'm speaking of? The information I'm speaking of is OPEX Friday. It's the third Friday of the month, all right, that is coming up. And so you have to expect some sort of volatility. There could be some folks adjusting their contracts, they're losing, all right? We can see a flush. That could be the catalyst and the excuse for price to flush back down to some of these previous lows. You understand? So we've already been making money, and we are pretty much taking profits, all right? The bulls are taking their profits, you know, as expected. You know, wouldn't you take your profits if you have this amazing run up, right? It's getting ready to be OPEX Friday, contracts expiring, all right? We got some data coming out on these days, just a perfect excuse, okay? A perfect excuse. And so right here on the 5-minute, you see that we are actually below the opening price up today, which was 644. And so as long as we are below that, we can see bearish pressure, all right? Now, I had to restart my TradingView account. This is on a different browser, all right? But as you can see, we are still above the point of control, making higher lows. Now I want to go to the 1 hour, okay? And I want to plot some volume. Let's see where everybody is. Let's see where we are in a moment of time. Okay, let's see where we are. All right, where are my pivot points? Okay, we are in the same blocks. Okay, so let's go back to the 30-minute time frame. All right, and I'm going to close this out and let you guys know the trade is in the patience and the context. All right, the setup, the pattern, and the human behavior. All right, what's actually going on? Okay, and so have these series here on the 30-minute time frame. Okay, you have this trend line here, right? Okay, and you have a highway, all right? You have a road map, okay? This is the slow lane, and this is the fast lane, okay? Sometimes when you get off on the highway, all right, you want to get into the fast lane. These are your dip buy moments. You're getting into the fast lane on the higher lows, all right? You get it, the road map, all right? This is race theory, range, auction, control, and execution, all right? Remember that, race theory, range, auction, control, and execution. And so we're waiting to the end of the day. This is trader DNA. We understand that we have a couple hours left in the market. Most of the best moves happen in the beginning, intraday, and at the end of the day. Why is that? Because most big players make most of their money from the volatility while everybody sleeps. The market opens, they swung overnight, they get the benefit from not trading with fear and understanding the sentiment. We are overall bullish. Dips are being bought up. But right when too many retailers get too overly bullish and want to take that chance, it'll switch on you and you get the pullback. So this is a consequence of trading error and flow, ebbs and flow. We are in the move, anticipating and getting out, taking our profit, managing our risk. We have our stop set, and that's the game. And so towards the end of the day, you want to see, can we create this higher low in order to continue back towards the upside? Remember, this is volatility. And even though there could be some profit taken, we haven't got to Thursday or Friday yet. All right, so we can swing back and forth. And where are we right now? We're on a dip above the point of control, possibly for a higher low. So you got to have two scenarios. Remember, if we fall below 642 here, this is where you want to take your puts. All right, 642 to 636, your first profit target is 639, and you got to understand that. All right, this is only exclusive for the Discord group as of now. I have not released this to anyone else. I wanted you guys to have it, to understand the trade on both sides. All right, on both sides. All right, bear with me. Okay. All right. So that first target is here. All right, remember puts below 642.20. All right, if you missed that trade, wait for a breakout pullback, right? Like this right here, breakout pullback to that area zone where it broke from, to catch the rest of the move back down to your first target, and then eventually your second target. All right, that's what you want to think about. Okay, that's the scenario to the downside. But if not, we catch this higher low here. Okay, you with me? We catch this higher low here, and we trap in some rookies. All right, we trap in some rookies. We make that better. All right, trap in some rookies here. All right, to catch them to go towards the upside. Let's see who wins. So 1 o'clock. We just had a 30-minute, 1 minute, 5-minute candle close. All right, so we can kind of see clearly who's in control here on the 3-minute time frame. You guys see that? You see that? All right. Hope you can see that. Let me take off of this, all right, and let's profile the price and see where we are and see what's going on here. I think I see a setup here, right? That same trend line we drew on the 15 is still holding right here. You see that? You understand? So this point of control is acting as a magnet, all right? Ironically, at the opening price of today. So if we get back over here, possibly trap in some bears who are overly bearish at that bottom break and what we talked about. All right, so above here, 644 calls, below here, puts. Okay, risk to reward. Appreciate you guys watching. All right.